on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown. Here's what's trending on the Carlos Brown Show. Southern University officially hires Marshall Faulk, because the last time we talked, it was speculations, rumors, but now it is official. Marshall Faulk becomes Southern University head football coach. South Carolina State wins the 10th annual Celebration Bowl. We'll talk about that. Boy, it was exciting. I'm still trying to recover from the trip to Atlanta, folks, but I'm here. We'll talk about what happened at the Celebration Bowl. The Human Jukebox wins the HBCU National Band Contest, and we're going to talk to the CEO of the Southern University Band, Coach Kedric Taylor, will join us in hour number one. And then we'll look into some basketball in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, the SWAC Basketball Report. Now, let's bring in the panel. They'll join me in the discussion today.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Good afternoon to Willer, and also Charles Edmond, of course, Coach Vann Pettaway, and good morning, good afternoon to all.
Good morning. Good morning.
Happy holidays.
Oh, yeah, it's holidays. I'm off work for 2 weeks to the new year. I'm going to catch up on some rest of some activities. But Dr. Kedric Taylor joins us in hour number one. I was talking to John Grant, CEO of the Celebration Bowl, and he said, well, hey, someone's going to be crowned a champion Friday night. And for a minute, I didn't know who it was. But then I thought about it. Southern University and FAMU, one-on-one. We'll put it in a Division I. And Southern University, Human Jukebox. They win the HBCU National Band Contest sponsored by Red Lobster. Also, but everybody I know wants to talk about, Southern University officially hires Marshall Faulk. And I just kind of pulled up some of the goodies about it. Everybody seems excited on this panel. Well, at least I am. I don't know why, because I guess it was Southern night. But and I won't go through all of the information, but I just want to pull out some of the juicier parts. Marshall Faulk will earn $1.2 million over 3 years as the head football coach of Southern, and this is I'm going from the Advocate. Also, the Southern Board of Supervisors also will have the option to extend the agreement by 1 year. So it's a 3-year deal with an option of 4. It also says he is among the highest paid coaches in HBCU football. Faulk can make an additional $10,000 each if these things occur. Southern is the Southwestern Athletic Conference West Division champion, is the undefeated SWAC West Division champion, defeats an FBS opponent, wins the Bayou Classic, and is SWAC Coach of the Year. So you got incentives in there as well. Faulk can earn an additional $20,000 for each of these other incentives. Southern is the overall SWAC champion and is the undefeated overall SWAC champion. Faulk's biggest incentive is if Southern wins the Celebration Bowl. Also earning him an additional $50,000 if the team appears in the bowl game. He'll get $25,000. If the university nets between $750,000 and $1 million in season ticket sales, Faulks will receive an extra $5,000. If the sales exceeds $1 million, then he'll earn $10,000. Now, also, they set aside $950,000 to
All righty.
Froze up, Carlos.
Charles, you there?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, we're back.
Okay.
Someone mute their mic. Somebody. I don't know. There we go. But also, I was talking that the Southern Fire's fault without cause in the first and second year, it'll owe him a total of $400,000 for the remaining term of his contract. So it's 3 years guaranteed, option for one, plenty of incentives, $950,000 for the assistant coaches, and they have not released the names of all of the staff, but you have a general manager, offensive coordinator, and also a defensive coordinator, also tight end coach, and also an O-line coach. So they've put the money where their mouth is, someone would say, as far as putting out extra money. And then also there's a stipulation we'll read a little bit later, um, with also helping with some additional funding for uh, internal facilities upgrade. So when you look at it, it's
That's that. Uh,
Well, yeah, I mean that obviously when you look at it, Marshall Faulk has been hired, and you
Hmm.
know, and I think that's the conversation. And I'm just going. I was going to say it if Carlos, when he comes back and opens the door for it, I am quite surprised that Southern went this route. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what Marshall Faulk can do. And so, this year is going to be about Marshall Faulk. He's going to get all the camera time, even though he's not in my opinion, the type of coach like a Deion Sanders, where do you believe he's been very tempered, I think, in his comments since he's been hired. So I think he's just taking, like you say, Wheeler, just trying to see where the bathroom is. He's just trying to figure out where
Yeah,
they are. And I think that's
yeah.
the right approach. I mean, you're taking over a team that won 2 games last year. So there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
work to be done. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think with that, I mean, the conversation of whether or not it should have been Marshall Faulk with other names out there, we can have that conversation, but it's a moot point now. He's been hired. And I thought, guys, that, when the report came out that there was a private plane sent to pick him up, you kind of knew then that's who was going to be the next head coach when something like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So even with that, I mean, he's got a lot of Louisiana ties. And, from what's being reported, there's been kind of a relationship between Marshall Faulk and Southern University, even in past coaching cycles. They just didn't pull the trigger on it. So I think it's going to be an interesting situation there.
It is, and Charles, you're only going to be, and we say this 1,000 times, you're only going to be as good as the people you surround yourself with. And so the focus, for me right now is who are you surrounding yourself with. And it's got to be of quality. You got a pretty good assistant coaches pool to draw from. Now the hope is that you're bringing in the kind of people that are what I like to call developers of men. Because like we always say, we have to make ours. Ours don't come ready made. We got to put them together piece by piece, that sort of thing. So the position coaches are going to be very important. The strength and conditioning guy is going to be of utmost importance, that sort of thing. And, I just, I want to see where that leads because that's going to be the tail of the tape in terms of success or lack thereof.
right. Yeah. Very interesting hire. Very interesting hire. And the commitment, I like to see the commitment that Southern University has made towards their football program. And we're going to see if the commitment from in terms of the financial commitment, if that's going to equate to wins for the program. But with only winning 2 games last year, they got nowhere to go but up. So my hats off to Southern and the direction that they're going with, and then only time will tell.
Well, you think, Coach Pettaway, you already had the highest budget in the SWAC as it was, and so the rich is getting richer, quote unquote. If we can say it like that, and it's just a matter of now putting the product out there that equates to the dollars that have been put into the program. So, when other schools who aren't spending as much as you are spending are outdoing you, then the question becomes, is it really about dollars, or is it about, quality of product? Is it about, the kids that we put out there? Is it recruiting? Is it development? Those kinds of things. And so, those are questions got to be answered.
Well, I think multiple things can be true. I think it's all about all of those things that you mentioned. And I'm looking in the chat room, and I guess we can say some breaking news. Um, it says, I see Coach Faulk hired Ken Merchant as offensive coordinator from Sacramento State. Paskey, who was one of the graphs that I was going to put up, apparently is not a done deal, or may not be a deal. Will
Hey, now Charles, did you all recognize the name he said?
Yeah, I did recognize. I did recognize one of the names. I did read about, and I think Carlos is going to kind of go over it. Les Miles' son,
Yeah, I
is on
saw
the
that.
staff. So that's interesting. I mean, I think Marshall Faulk is trying to surround himself with people. I don't know if he knows these folks individually. I'm sure he probably does. I'm sure there's been some type of relationship. Would you just hire a coach, an assistant, if you're the head coach and you're over this program like Coach Pettaway? Would you just hire a coach without having a deep relationship or a basic relationship with some of these coaches you're bringing in?
No. Me personally, now I've got to have. I've got to know you. When I say know you, I got to at least know of you. I got to know about what you bring to the table. Are you that guy? Like in basketball, we know there's some guys out there that can go get players. Are you that kind of guy? Are you the recruiter? And not just and it's not just me that know that you can go get players. Are you that guy that's a defensive coordinator in basketball? Is your reputation because your defense has been so tough? The programs that you work for are constantly in the top 2 or 3 when it comes to defense. On the offense, most of the time, I'm not going to look for too many other offensive guys because that's my forte. I believe that I can score against anybody. So I would have to know something about you on a personal level for me to bring you in, and that's where I've always dealt with it. Because
I agree. I agree with you, Coach Pettaway.
Yeah, it has to fit my staff, Wheeler.
Uh-huh.
You have to fit in with what I already have. So that's how I approach that. But with him, I guarantee you he's got some relationships with some of these people now over the years that he's spent in the NFL and in college. My thing is this now. The guys that you're bringing in, were they successful where they were because they had everything that they needed? See, that's the big thing now. The things that Southern does not have, is that gonna hold them back? You can coach and you can do things because of your surroundings. If you've been a big recruiter because you always had the biggest bag, is that gonna make a difference when you got to go out there and develop relationships with recruits? A lot of times at some of the schools now, those guys didn't build relationships. They built bank accounts. And that's how they got athletes now. But
and for me, Coach Pettaway, not to cut you off, I stay away from coffee and donut guys.
right.
And that's what I call interns.
Right.
I kind of stay away from that. Especially pro level interns, because I just think when you're coaching pro ball, you're already coaching the best of the best. There's not a lot of development there going on, that sort of thing. These guys are already at this level for a particular reason. So they're bringing a lot of things to the table. Okay, with us, you pretty much, like I said earlier, you got to build these guys from scratch. So you're talking about a totally different mindset, you know, coming in than where you were. And so my question is whether or not those guys can relate, can they do the grunt work that it's going to take in terms of building these kids into the players that you guys are going to need for them to have, and that's important.
Well, I was in and out from technical issues. So what was the question, Charles? I
Yeah.
think
Oh no. Yeah, you were
yeah.
going over the staff when you said McCaskey, and you were kind of getting into it, and then I was mentioning, and it's been reported that Les Miles' son is going to join the staff, and so
Mhm.
that was just kind of we were just kind of going over what's been out there, and in terms of what Marshall Faulk needs as far as the staff to be able to get this thing going right away.
Well, I think there are relationships, just because, and look, some of them, if you look at their bio, they've coached on the college level, they've coached on the NFL level. So I think those relationships, and Coach Falk talks about in his opening press conference, and then he went into another room where he addressed the media, and he talked about relationships and getting to know the team. And so I don't think it's a bad thing if a coach has coached on the high school level. You look at a defensive coordinator, coached on the high school level, coached on the college level, coached on the NFL level. And I think because I'm in the education field, you're going to be teaching. Same thing in the classroom. You're going to be establishing relationships. The first couple of days of a new school year, you don't know those students unless, in my case, you had some from the previous years. So you're building relationships. You're also teaching. And from an X's and O's standpoint, I'm not going to slight them and give them opinion like they don't know,
Right.
you know. They are going to know. So I equate coaching to teaching, in my humble opinion. And there's there's the staff is not complete, or if it's complete, it's not been listed the total staff.
Yeah.
Um, just like with McCaskey, it. He brought it up meaning Coach Falk at the board of supervisor meeting when his contract was a done deal Friday, and so with that being said, in the chat room, they say he's got an offensive coordinator. You talked about Ben Miles. Yep, Les Miles' son. He's come in as an analyst from Florida State. So it's an interesting staff. Now, from a X and O standpoint, I don't think it's. I think it's outstanding, and it has you excited to see uh, what's to come.
Yeah. Yeah, I,
Well,
I I I agree with you on that part of it. I mean, I think there's a lot of experience there in terms of the football knowledge, and so that it's just a matter of matriculating and getting to know the student athletes, and I think that's going to be the key to being brought up to speed. And then we were texting during the week about Fred McNair.
Hmm.
Someone was asking me about Fred McNair the other day, and I read a post. Someone put out a post. One of our podcasters that does this stuff. They named all the coaches that weren't going to be retained, but then there was one coach that wasn't named. It was Fred McNair, and we were
He's been
texting.
retained,
Yeah, so he has been retained. So that, and we kind of talked
according to
about.
my information. He's been
Correct.
retained.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, we've talked about this. I mean, you're going to have one or two holdovers. At least that's one, and I think that's a good thing, because I do think Coach McNair brings a little bit of wealth of knowledge in terms of the SWAC and all of that. I think that will be helpful as well, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But I
And,
think
and
I think with
he
Coach
did a pretty good
McNair,
job.
with Coach McNair, I think the ink probably not dry until after the convention is over, because I think he's going to have some offers there, some coordinator offers out there, and so he's going to have to decide, whether or not to come back to Southern as a position coach or to move on as a coordinator somewhere. He's got to look at his trajectory in terms of where he ultimately wants to be, and then decide whether or not You know, it's nice to be wanted at Southern. There's no doubt about that. But if his goal is to get back to becoming a head coach again, you know, then getting back into a coordinator's position somewhere is going to be paramount. And, you know, so he's going to have some things to think about, I think, once he gets to the convention next month.
There's some head coaching offers. There's some head coaching openings too.
Yeah, it is.
At our level. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we can't discount that, even though you hadn't heard his name, but still, I mean, you just never know how these things go. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, it would be nice if he's retained, but you just don't know where Coach McNary is in this. Does he want to continue on the path that he's on? I'm sure wanted at Southern working with Coach Faulk, but if something better comes along, head coaching opportunity, maybe not. But if that does happen, he'll have to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he'll probably have the opportunity, but what if he's decided to stay?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to throw that out as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And when you're in a comfortable position, when you have a job already, and then you see opportunities, I think that makes it a little more settling for him, and so that he can survey the landscape and see what he wants to do.
Yeah, it's easier to get a job when you got one. There's no doubt.
That is correct.
Yep, you can be picky and choose. You don't have to just jump on the first thing smoking.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, Carlos, you had broke up when I had mentioned this, and look, Coach Faulk is hired and all that, so we can move forward with it. But just turning the clock back. I said several years ago that the celebrity coaching thing wasn't going anywhere. Schools were going to try it and do it. We're seeing it. But I was really surprised that Southern did it. I've been knowing you, Carlos, a long time. And I get the temperature from Southern University talking to you every week. I just never thought Southern would go this route. But they have, and so we'll see what happens. I just want to put my opinion out there on it because, based on reports, and you can confirm or deny, Marshall Faulk and Southern University have had relationships going back a while. So, maybe this was just the right time to pull the trigger on it, but I didn't see that one coming. Of course, I don't know. I'm not there, but obviously there's been a relationship. I wouldn't say long standing, but it seems to be a pretty decent relationship in the upper levels of the atmosphere, to me, between Faulk and maybe the upper levels of the administration there, where this was the time to make that move, in my opinion.
Well, they've had a relationship now. It wasn't to the relationship me and you and Coach Pettaway have,
right?
But yeah, and I remember the last time we had a show, someone said, "Well, let's see if Carlos, he's probably going to go off." No, for first and foremost, I didn't think they would go that route. I would even be honest enough to say that it wasn't my first choice. But guess what? I'm blue and gold forever, as long as I'm on this earth. And so when they made the decision, I came out on this show and publicly on social media. I support the hire. And I still feel this way. And I still am looking forward to seeing what happens as far as building a program. Yeah, 2-10 last year. I'm excited about some of the pieces being put in place. I did say I was in education, right? And I like to see building. And I like to see it building block by block. It's like that good old-fashioned algebra class. Don't miss a class if you got a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday class, because if you miss Monday, they introduce something new. Wednesday, they introduce something new, but you had to know what happened Monday. And so you're seeing things built. Now, the question, too, was brought up. Man, it would be nice if they'd had some of the things that they're trying to do, or that they're supposed to do from a administration and athletic standpoint, because we have to say administration and athletic, that they could have started on some of these things internally, facility-wise. We stated before, slapping a coat of paint on the door, that's not going to drive these kids. NIL, as much as we may like it or don't like it, it's part of college athletics now. Cost of attendance, nutrition center. Some of these kids you're recruiting, they've come from a high school that has brand new facilities, outstanding facilities. So you gotta change your mindset. You don't give up your values and what have you, but You got to adjust. And so it's going to be interesting to see. They're putting things in place. And 2 years from now, a year from now, we'll see how much progress has been made. But I would like to invite and have them on this show. Those people who were on the committee, at least one or two of them, and talk about what drove the decision to coach Faulk. So to answer your question, yeah, they had a relationship, but it wasn't a heavy relationship.
Yeah.
And now you look, also FAMU reports are they've selected a new coach. And you see how much money they've putting forth as far as the pool of assistants. What goes on Avenue A will go on Avenue B. They're trying to top Southern University. So yeah, Coach Pettaway, yeah, they, it's out there what they're gonna hire Coach Gray for at FAMU.
Now,
We've said this. I just hope, once again, patience is the order of the day with all these hires, with Gray at FAMU as well as with, Falk at Southern. Yeah, and while everybody's happy right now, what happens if we start off 0-3, 0-4, or what have you? Does the mindset change? Do attitudes get sour? That sort of thing. So, everybody's got to preach patience as the order of the day.
I'm gonna shoot that down, Wheeler.
Charles, it's like patience. You're on the interstate and everybody's going 70.
Yeah.
That's the speed limit, but my car is only going 50 for whatever reason.
I'm shooting patience down because if you take a look at what we're dealing with right now, Tremaine Jackson, Coach Sanders, Chennis Berry, Kevin Johnson, what do they all have in common? They've all won at a pretty high level early in their tenure. And so I think this whole thing of, well, you got to wait. And we're older. We're from the old guard. You got to wait 3 years, and the fourth year you got to hit it out of the park. No, I don't think these programs are giving these coaches 3 years. 2, and Carlos, we joke about the Carlos Brown contract, but Tremaine Jackson, year 1. Chennis Berry's been there 2 years and has won 2 MEAC championships and has been to 2 Celebration Bowls and has won 1 in year 2, coming from Benedict. Coach Sanders, Kevin Johnson. I mean, we can go on. And so I think this whole thing with patience, I'm sorry. I these last couple of weeks has kind of changed my mind on a bunch of stuff. This whole thing of buying out coaches, willing and able. We've seen 2 coaches get bought out. They have used Coach Colsey and Terrence Graves. But we say that, well, these schools can't afford to buy out these coaches where they're doing it. So
some can't, Charles.
Well, some
can,
but I'm saying that, it's being done. And I have a feeling that it's going to be done a lot more because it's an arms race and you can't afford to fall behind in the race. So I think if a coach just isn't getting it done after 2 years, if you don't see progress, Cedric Thomas is going into year 3, last year of his deal. We won 5 out of our last 6 games. People are asking, and they're going to ask all off season, what happened at the start of the season? Won 5 out of 6, had Jackson on the ropes. Year 3, let's see what happens. So I think this whole patience thing, I'm in my opinion, I might be wrong, but I think patience is not there. In a couple of years, you got to show something, or else schools are willing to pull the plug and willing to buy you out and restructure that thing however way they want to restructure. Coaches gonna get paid. Graves is gonna get his money. Colsey gonna get his money. They're not gonna miss a paycheck. It's just how it's done. So I just think patience is just not there now in this new landscape we're in my opinion.
And Charles, I think it coincides with the monies that you're putting into the program. I think those schools that are investing heavily in the program, I ain't gonna say naturally, they should be a little short-winded, but you find that they're going to be a little bit more short-winded as opposed to those who are further down the line. And I think if you're further down the line financially, then patience definitely has to be the order of the day. There's no doubt about that. if you're putting good money into the programs, then the expectation is going to rise with the level of funding that's going into the program.
But if you look in the conference, all things are not equal. How many in that situation in the conference? FAMU's one. Could we put Jackson State in there that could have done? I mean, they've gotten a success with Coach Taylor. Can Alcorn, Coach Pettaway? Could Arkansas Pine Bluff? Can Valley? Alabama A&M? Alabama State? I think just like in any conference, you have some that are up here, some in the middle, and then some at the bottom. What do you think?
But see, my problem, Carlos, is when the administration has a Volkswagen budget, but they have a Rolls Royce expectation.
Mm-hmm.
That's my problem. You know, there's no patience at some of the schools, but they have not provided that coach with everything that they need. And so,
But they want a miracle. You're exactly right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That your expectations exceed your commitment, and I think that's what's wrong with some of the programs in the conference. You're not putting it. You don't have the financial commitment, but you want the success that everybody else has had.
Yeah,
I mean, and you have to look at whether or not the cupboard was bare coming in the door too. You know, and I think, you know, along with, you know, with Chennis's success, you know, at South Carolina State, he got lucky early on. Buddy Pugh had done a great job in terms of, you know, the roster, that sort of thing. I think he had to overhaul the roster pretty much this past year. I think he had like 25, maybe 30 new kids. So a third of the roster was brand new, and he was able to replicate that success. But you know, some of these guys got a recipe already in place. You know, and you would hope that you be able to transfer, you know, that success from one label from one level to another. But you know, like I said, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, if they don't get it done, if they don't burn it up coming in the door, there's still got to be some patience there somehow.
All right, so let's bring up FAMU. Colsey was 12-12 in 2 years. 12-12. And now if he beats Valley, if he beats Bethune, he's what, 14-10.
Should have got another year, Charles.
So should
have got that third year.
So is it because of the bad losses late, just like we talk about with Southern and the bad losses they had at home and all of that was just snowballed? If they beat Bethune and they beat Valley, and I would even go back is if they beat Jackson, they had big home games, Bama State at home, Jackson at home, where they could have been rebel rousers in the Eastern Division. They didn't get it done. He wins 3 more games instead of 12-12. He's 15-9 with a new administration. Does he get that third year?
You know what, Charles? I think they had their eye on Gray all along. You know, and the more success Gray had, the closer their eye got to him, to the point where they probably thought, if we don't get him now, we're not going to be able to get him because somebody else is going to scoop him up. Yeah, and they decided to go ahead and make the move. So I think that was all about Gray, not necessarily about Colsey, so to speak. That's just my thought.
But that's interesting, putting up the scenario that Charles mentioned. Does he get his third year?
I would have said yes.
He beats Bethune-Cookman. I think he does. I think the Valley game was probably the decision probably was made by then. But you know, you can't lose that type of game that way. And I say politics plays a part in some of this stuff too. You got a new administration coming in, and you know, are they looking at the past? Are they looking at how Colsey came in? Remember how FAMU hired Colsey to begin with. When Willie Simmons left, there was a big gap. There was over a month period of time in which they didn't have a coach, and some coaches left, some players left. Colsey got in there. They had a committee, then they didn't, and all. I mean, I know this new administration probably doesn't even think about that, but Wheeler talked about it. Did Colsey really have solid footing when he got the job to begin with? And you have a new administration, a new AD, a new president, boards thinking certain kind of ways. Does that even matter what happened in the past as compared to where you are right now in 2025? You lost to Bethune at the last minute. You lose to Valley. You lose to Jackson at home. I mean, FAMU had an opportunity, in my opinion, coming off Jackson's loss to Grambling. That very next week in Vegas, they had to go to Tallahassee. If they win that game, they're in the contention for the Eastern Division. Jackson's probably out. It's Alabama State. And I mean, this is hypothetical, of course. It's FAMU and Alabama State. And I think Colsey might survive because now you got a little championship fever going because FAMU, all they need is for an Alabama State loss, and they are in control of the East. But some bad losses there at the end, new administration, you lose, to Bethune. I think, even though some people downplay it, Carlos, Ossie Clark says all games matter, right? But I do think some games matter a little bit more.
Well, I'm going in the chat room. It's funny. But Brian Fulford, who would know, a FAMU alum, he says he would have gotten a third year had he beat Bethune-Cookman.
Exactly.
And Valley. Now, it was another one says he's a dead man walking after the Alabama, the Albany State win. Okay. It was another one. EA says, no, Wheeler, we don't lose and brag by 30 points. Got to go.
Bad losses at home.
Now, you could translate to Southern University. I know.
Absolutely.
I know people's feelings were all there.
Yeah.
But if you 1-6, you lost at home. The loss is tough, but then the way you lost as well.
Yeah.
I think, Charles, you said Dr. McClellan said he could tell by year 2.
Yeah. Year one.
Year 1 if somebody's going to be successful or not.
Yes.
Boy, this thing's been turned up. I'm going to tell you. Athletics is forever changing. It's some would say a tsunami. Old school, new school. I think you got to be a little bit of both. You got to have the fundamentals down, in coaching from an athletic administration standpoint. You have your foundation, but then you have to be able to adjust.
Yeah.
It is very interesting. And we talked about it. In 2026, you will see different coaches there on the panel. 27, I'm going to tell you now. Some you see this year, you won't see in 27.
Yeah.
I mean, if you looked at it every year, that's how it's been.
Yeah.
Now, I will say if you translate to basketball, I think you see a little bit more consistency with the coaches there. Now, you had a couple coaches switched.
Yeah.
Within the conference, but we've already said it because football is the engine. The temperature check it can't wait till it get hot.
Yeah.
like that engine. If it's starting to move up, look out.
Yeah.
But we also talked about Southern and FAMU. Remember we asked that question, 2 most disappointing, and there was back and forth on who was the most, but you look at Southern and FAMU with expectations. The administration made moves with 1 year left on the contract.
Yeah, and for what Southern did is really, eye opening in the sense of you just won the division last year. You gotten rid of 2 coaches that won the division the previous year, Dooley as well as Graves, and it got me thinking, what does that say about winning the division? Does winning the division now carry a whole lot of weight?
Let me answer it this way. Let's say in my teacher evaluation, I got an A, checked all the boxes. Administration, the principal, you did well. Your evaluation the following year, you didn't get that A. Do you wipe out the year when you get an A in evaluation? No, the record says, look, and records follow you in education. It's there.
Yeah.
10 years from now, that record is there.
Yeah.
And it's also there when you didn't get an evaluation as good as the previous year before. It's what? It's there.
Yeah.
So, Charles, the record will show, yes, in both instances, they won the division. The second year, one was a big collapse, and the record is there. And then the year before, with Coach Dooley, had a winning record, but he didn't win the division. But the record is there.
So
Yeah.
once
So anybody can
again,
see it.
the question is, if I'm not mistaken, Charles, did winning the division mean anything?
Yes, because the record shows it. That's all I'm saying. Do you deny any of the records?
Does it buy you
Oh,
more
we're
time?
trying to make this complicated. It's not.
No. Well, I guess maybe I need to rephrase the question. Does it necessarily buy you more time?
Obviously not.
You have a contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have a contract, right?
Yeah.
And let's say I have a 3-year contract. I won the division the first year, and Dr. Taylor, we're coming to you. He's in the back listening. And then the second year, you don't do as well. Then the third year, let's say you do well. You win the division. So you look at the body of work, right? You look at the overall contract. Then you base your decision on those 3 years. And then there's other intangibles, graduation rates, incentives. But it is what it is. But to answer your question, in my opinion, it doesn't take away from winning the division. Some would say we wish we could erase year 2, but we can't because the record is there. And your evaluation is there for everyone to see.
I get it. I get it. But it just seems to me, in my field, is that winning the division no longer carries the type of weight that it once did. Now, if you win the SWAC and don't win the celebration, you win the division and win the SWAC, but don't win celebration, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think winning the division, and as hard as it is to win the division, we did it 6 years in a row when we were in the East. It's hard every year. And the weight that it carries to me, and maybe this is just the new way of thinking now. I just think winning the division doesn't carry as much clout and cachet that it used to. And unless you just have a total collapse, like you said, Carlos, with Dooley as well as Graves, to where you had to make a change right now instead of letting it play out, I guess winning the division doesn't carry as much weight, at least just the way it seems to me now. We've seen it twice. And it's just with one school. But I'm just wondering just the overall attitude throughout the conference now. I think Tremaine Jackson is fine. He wins the division. He won the SWAC. He's fine. But if he had a collapse, Prairie View's not quick to pull the plug on things to me. So I think Tremaine Jackson's got a little more runway to work with. But I'm just wondering, is winning the division still carries weight throughout the conference with some of these coaches? I'm just not saying Southern. I'm just saying the new landscape, the new attitude, the new way of thinking. I'm thinking out loud on this one.
And I'll still go back and say, Charles, when you're putting a lot of money in your program, the leash becomes shorter.
I get
That's just the way it appears to be. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
When you are heavily investing in the program, your expectations are sky high, and you expect to be consistent in terms of hovering around the top, in terms of wins and losses. When you're not paying for championships or championship level play, and your budget is in the middle of the pack or towards the end of the pack, then naturally my thought is the expectations have to be a little lower because you're not necessarily paying for success. You're just paying to field a team.
Well, Charles, your well thinking may have to. You may have to. I'm not saying change it, but dwell deep into those thoughts. Now, expectations are always high, right?
Yeah.
Let us bring on our guest. I don't even want to go to a break. He is Dr. Taylor. He knows about expectation. He knows about pressure. You know, they had the battle of the bands in Atlanta. That was pressure, but somehow I think Dr. Taylor is accustomed to pressure. And when it's time to perform, they perform.
Yeah.
They got a national championship. Dr. Taylor, where are you?
Hello, how are you?
Dr. Taylor, good morning. And I know you've been listening to the conversation. You know about pressure, right? You know about championships and you know about expectations. Talk about that. And congratulations, by the way.
Congratulations.
Southern University Human Jukebox. They win a national band contest, HBCU band contest. Well, congratulations, Dr. Taylor.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's definitely an honor to be here. And pressure is definitely something you hold when you come to Southern University and take on. Because we were known as the flagship HBCU school. You know, you've seen Southern University. When I was growing up, I would see stars with Southern University sweaters on and hoodies on the movies. So you know the legacy that is at Southern University. So the expectation is always to be the best, no matter what. When you take on those positions, those roles, that's the expectation, you know. And given the band success as of late, you know, the students have worked extremely hard to get where they are, and I'm proud of them for all the work they do. But it takes a dynamic staff behind having a great leader. And I don't want to get into the football terms, but I know everybody understands football terms more than they do any other. But Nick Saban wasn't as successful as he was because he just was good. He had great people surrounding him, and his coaching tree speaks for it when you look at the amount of coaches he have in the college football now. Every team you look at, oh man, he was an analyst in this year when they had this person. You know, if you keep up with it, you'll see all of the different trends that are out there. And it's the same with the Southern University Human Jukebox. If you look at how many band directors that are out there at the college level, we have about 13 compared to everybody else. So when you see bands look similar to Southern, it's because they were a part of the Human Jukebox. So it just speaks volume as to the standard we have at Southern University and the expectation of our fan base. They are so accustomed to winning that they forget what it feels like to be on the losing end. So, you know, it's a pressure that you definitely embrace, but you also got to be realistic in your evaluation of what we call success. You know, so I'm excited because I made my students take on the charge of not just being student musicians and great at the instrument, but taking on getting the academics as well. So we've gone from like 60-some kids having 3.0 GPAs to right now this semester we have 118 students with a 3.0 or higher. So, you know, it's just challenging them to be better.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is outstanding. And in your situation, you become the director and you talked about it. It was a legacy already there. Did it make it more difficult for you to step up in that role, or was it different in the sense if you didn't have a legacy, didn't have such a great tradition, come behind some of the great band leaders that were there before?
That's a great question. It definitely was a lot of pressure coming behind Isaac Griggs. I mean, come on. When you talk about legendary, you know, anytime you mention his name, everybody know who the legendary Dr. Isaac Griggs is. No matter if it's a HBCU, PWI, no matter what, they know Dr. Griggs. So that's a pressure within itself. And the success the band has had over the years is like, what's next? What could you do possibly to be as good as or better than the things that have taken place at Southern University, the band program? Like, these people are expecting, you know, you to carry this legacy on, right? And so that's the pressure. I think it's way harder now because social media has given everybody the autonomy to watch you live. When there used to be a time where you didn't see a band until you played them, you know. So it also adds another pressure because your fans get to go watch it 10 times or as many times as they want. So when they see you the next time, it's not as exciting because they done sat and watched it all week and they saying, all right, what y'all got new this week? You know. So from a creative standpoint, you know, every time they see Southern Band, they expected something new. When I was in the band, we had a home show that we would change up for homecoming, and if Jackson came, we'd change from that. And we had one road show where we'd do the show that we did at home on the road. So we didn't change as much, but it was still exciting to people because they didn't get to watch it as much.
Right.
That's an interesting point. Social media, and now more eyes on you. So talk a little bit about the competition, drills, the sound of music, etc. What were some of the things you had to practice to? Because I know you knew going in what was the expectation and the criteria.
Well, that's a great question, man, because as you know, Southern is a traditional band. We march a traditional style, which is based on the military. Pretty much every PW I was marching that way back in the day. All your HBCUs were doing traditional style marching is what we call it. Some people call it show band, but it's called traditional style marching. And that's what we do at Southern University. That's what we were built on, and, you know, that's something that you don't want to change, you know. Because that's what we are accustomed to doing, and it just look good. You know, it's clean, it's symmetrical. It creates all kind of shapes and things. So our job is to kind of take what we done as what we call tradition, something that was started by someone, and to keep that tradition going, you just got to continue to be innovative and creative with it. And I always take what the legendary taught me. He's like, you know, you got to educate your audience and entertain. So I thought that was very powerful because it's like, you know, most people don't know the work it takes to learn music. They don't know the work it takes to learn the scores and the different drill formations that the students are able to do. That's a lot of work. And it's very difficult because you have to retain all of the music. And we played this past season over 100 and some different songs.
Wow. Dr. Taylor, how large is the band?
This is the largest band in the history of Southern University that we kept. We have on roster 320 students.
Ooh. Now, 320. Now, I was told does that necessarily mean all 320 actually march on the field? But hey, 320, that is large.
No, we definitely have not put 320 on the field. We believe in competition. You know, we believe in continuing to let the students, you know, challenge each other on their instruments. That's what we did when we were in school. You know, Doc would just pop out the office and say, "Let me hear you. Let me hear you." You know, so we got a first string team, a second string, and third string now.
Yeah.
But no, we like to keep it competitive. But we put 192 on the field to keep it clean. Because when you put too many people on the field, you can't really do nothing with it, and you can't clean it up. It's harder to clean up because you don't have enough space. So we already taking up most of the field, as you know now. So when you add more and more people, you can't really create a lot of things from that. It gets cluttered, and then people don't know where to look. They just looking all over the field. You can't really follow along with what's going on. So we like to keep the shows clean and professional.
Right.
I tell you what, I learned something there, Dr. Coach Pettaway. With Dr. Taylor explained it, and it does make sense. Anybody else has a question for the big doc?
But I want to make a comment too. I want to congratulate you all too, because when you listen to college football now in the South, you can hear the Southern flavor in some of these other bands. I'm not just talking about LSU. LSU is just like it to me. It's like they listening to y'all practices because their band sounds more like Southern than they do LSU now.
Well, often imitated.
Yep.
Never duplicate it. Who
Yep.
said that? The famous guy.
And listen, to that point, they are watching us.
Yeah.
And they told us, we go to conferences with other college directors there, and in your big schools, they're like, yeah. People like, well, how did y'all get to this point? And they were like, we just watched Southern.
Yep. Yep.
It's like, and that makes it more difficult for us because it's not authentic anymore because people can watch it over and over. It's like YouTube, a lot back in the day, me and my dad would be outside working on the car. And man, we'd be out there for hours to change the brakes and stuff like that. And I was like, Dad, we gonna change the brakes with a crowbar? It's like now YouTube show you exactly the tools you need, exactly where the bolts are, how to change it. So it's like the blueprint is down on the internet now. Like people can just go watch it and they can just take it. And sometimes, man, they'll email us and say, I love you guys' rendition of this song. Can we purchase it? And they want to buy the song from us because they've watched the band and they want their band to have that sound.
It sounds like Southern University Human Jukebox. The last time we had you on, I said the digital Human Jukebox because like when you turn the volume up on whatever your particular device, it gets distorted when you turn it louder. But for Southern, the clarity is still there. So it sounds like Southern has an outstanding Human Jukebox brand. And again, often imitated but never duplicated.
Yeah.
That's exactly correct. The judges were talking to me after the competition because this kind of first time in a while that we've gone to an actual judge competition where you got other great directors that are critiquing your band, right? And anytime someone see you for halftime, you like, hey, look, we just trying to entertain the crowd. But for this particular event, this was a nationally adjudicated event by directors from Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, former director bands, Jackson State in the early 90s, Prof. Lee from Texas Southern, like Julian White from FAMU. And to have those guys come up to me and say, my goodness, the Southern band. That's all they could say. Yeah. And they kept talking about the sound the band had. And I mean, these guys, are from other universities. And when they're able to tell you that what you're doing is doing great work, you're doing great work with the students and your staff and all those things, it's humbling because I can remember being under the legendary and sometimes I would be in awe just in how he carried himself. Like you never knew how to plan for him because he was a mastermind when it came to showmanship, when it came to sound, when it came to different events. He always said, you got to know your audience because there'll be times we didn't want to do stuff and he's like, trust me. And man, we go in there and the people go crazy. And so I take on those same things with my students now because I'm like, guys, y'all don't understand. I'm like, think about the majority of the people that's buying tickets. It's not your age group. If your age group at the game, they walking around. They not paying attention to the things going on. I say it's the older crowd that's at the games and really paying attention. I said, so your shows have to be conducive to the people in which you're performing for. It's not, I no knock to the new music, but it's harder to write that stuff because it really don't have substance like you had when you had the Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Teddy Pendergrass, Luther Vandross, all these hit songs that everybody in the world was listening to. Now everybody compartmentalize the music they listen to. And if you like me, I still listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire, stuff like that. Yeah. Because the message that they had behind those songs had a lot more meaning than today. All we rap about is talk about his money, cars, and how this person did this. It's not a lot of musical things happening and the message behind it. I think words are powerful. We talk about words. Words are powerful. So you got to be mindful of what you're writing today because you don't know what those songs represent, So a lot of it is very important when I think about, raising the bar and also embracing our legacy at Southern University. And one thing Doc stood for was professionalism. He taught us how to dress so that everybody look at how our appearance still is. We carry on, hey, tuck your shirts in, make sure your uniform's clean cut. because you represent just yourself. You represent a brand that nobody want to attach their name to a brand that's not look like it's something that's valuable. And so I say, if you invest in yourself, others will find a reason to invest in it, and it starts with your appearance, like how you look, how you present yourself. So those are some principles that we continue to teach, and it's being shown in actual work. So I tell the students all the time, man, the work we do speak for us and not us speak for the works that we do. People will find you if you're doing the right thing.
Well, Doc, I got a question for you. And in terms of educating and enlightening me, when I watch your band, it's got a great sound, but the routine where the lead person goes to midfield and bends over backwards where the hat is touching the turf, what is that called? Because that's all. When I see Southern's band, that the guy, the person, he or she marches out there. I don't know what it's called, but I think that is an awesome routine, and I know that requires a whole lot of contortion and a whole lot of work.
Greatness and athleticism. That's
and all that and a lot more. I mean, man, I'd be in the hospital if I tried to do that, and I wouldn't be on this show today.
The drum major is really good, and it takes a lot of work to learn how to do that. And he does it perfect. You know, it's called a back bend. So you
back bend, okay?
Yeah, you bending back, and that came from many years ago. The story behind it is funny because they say, you know, Doc had the guy to go out and he was supposed to do a routine and he was about to fall. So he ended up falling into a back bend. But he popped back up and the fans went crazy. So from then on, Doc wanted that every game.
And it seems like it has to be done a certain way because that hat is it that the hat can't touch the turf, and I mean, what are the specifications of that?
So the hat's supposed to barely touch the turf, but sometimes you know he don't wear the hat because you know some people think he's using the hat to not have to go all the way back, but he has to control it with his leg, and he has to have good stamina in his abdominals. Like he had to be really his core has to be strong. So
that's the word, core.
Yeah, so to go back like that, you got to have strong leg muscles, and your core has to be extremely firm to be able to go back and pop back up without any resistance.
Yeah, I see that every week, and I just wonder, how do they do that? How much practice goes into it, and just the amount of strength and stamina and all that. That's just that's what jumps off the page for me when I see it, because there are pictures, there are still shots of that, and I'm like, how in the world do they do it?
The drum major like the field goal kicker. You know, he's not in there with the band, but he's working on his craft while the band is working on music, and he's out. I just watch him sometimes, and it's funny because he'll do that back bend like 15, 20 times a day. Yeah, like he stretch a lot. I mean, that's a lot of pressure to kick out there, and you got thousands and thousands of people watching you. And at that point, your body it's a rehearsed thing. So that's why I always tell the students, you know, we can't have performance discipline. What you do in rehearsal is going to show up in your performance. So the way you practice, you know, it's the way you're going to perform. So I see, and that's what's hard about this generation today, because they don't see the importance of doing things the right way every time. And I say, hey guys, don't practice till you get something right. You practice till you can't get it wrong.
Boy, I can hear Dr. Grizz, God rest his soul, because, you know, you don't want to get under his bad side, which a couple of times I have, and I will remember that. You defeated FAMU, the Marching 100, although they seem like they have more than, they do have more than 100 people in the band, but it looks like all band directors, even in competition, were still HBCUs, and you have respect in that competition, and somebody had to win. FAMU finished second, Southern University first. But we'll talk about those relationships that you've established with other HBCU band directors.
Man, you know, a lot of those guys, they are good people. You know, those guys, they're really great people. You know, and it's funny to me because, you know, the internet, you would think that everybody's about to go out there and start boxing. And I'm like, hey man, we play instruments. You know, we're not about to go out there and but I think we've always been so competitive, and Doc was a competitor. I would be in the office, and Doc would call the other band director like on a Wednesday or something, and he'll say, "It won't hurt no more after Sunday." It wasn't quite in those words, but if you
Yeah.
know Doc, you know how he said it. And my
Mhm.
eyes was big. I was like, Doc, he just told that man. He said, he know.
Yeah, that's that confidence. That's that confidence.
So it's funny
Yeah.
because when you see those other directors, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doc, you good?
We hear you.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you hear us? Can you see us?
Sound like I blinked out.
Okay. No, we can hear you.
Yeah. So Doc, you all be selling wolf tickets too, like some of the coaches. Coaches, we would talk noise to our opponents sometimes. So you all are doing the same thing.
He can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
I can't hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you, Doc.
Log out and log back in right quick.
All right.
Yeah. But you know what's interesting? And I was gonna bring up, I know Dr. Griggs told me one time that we were the best conditioned athletes
Right.
on the campus. And
They
yeah, Dr. Taylor, we got your back?
Yes, sir. I'm back.
okay.
Okay. I was just saying that Dr. Griggs told me one time, actually, he was nice. That pleasant time. He said they were the best conditioned athletes, student athletes on the campus. And that leads me into to my final question and comment. Now you have parade season coming up. You have football season. Then you have parades. We play a clip all the time coming on the show of the Southern University participating in parades. He was right. It best student athletes, conditioned athletes on campus because it's just like all sports, it's a year-round competition, year-round practicing. You agree with that?
Oh, yes, sir. I do. I'm glad I don't march in the band that I teach. But I like these students are like, I tell them all the time, like, man, it's like y'all, like, I'm not gonna say robots, but I know they wear down and we have to motivate them to keep going. But the amount of work they put in, the amount of material they have to learn, like, I was like, man. But I also reward them, with opportunities to not only just have things with the Southern University Band, but also get opportunities for internships. We had a few students go to motion pictures, and they created beginning. So we make a lot of relationships and partnerships. So we can put our students out there for all the work that they have done throughout their years in the band. But they lose a lot of weight in the fall and spring because, man, they using muscles that it's a muscle to play the instrument. You got muscles here, you got muscles in your diaphragm where they use. They do sit-ups, push-ups. Like they stay doing push-ups and sit-ups, because we got to make sure they can hold those heavy instruments. Holding those bass drums and tubas and that stuff's not easy. Keon Coleman had, he played for Buffalo, but Keon came and bought a band. And he's like, let me see one of those too. He's like, man, y'all march with these all day. I'm like, well, yeah, it shouldn't be nothing. You squat, for football, but it's definitely that tuba weighs about 30 pounds on your shoulders, and it's just, they running with it, they playing and marching with it. So you have to be conditioned, and we made the band sign liability forms now because we have to work out, and so you got to make sure they physical condition. They got to get physicals because they don't lift weights, but it's kind of like doing HIIT where you're not lifting weights, but you're getting stronger by using your natural muscles. So that's what I would say. It's definitely a lot of work. It's not as easy as people think. It's one of those arts that I say you have to be a great person that want to learn this in order to do it effectively because anybody can't just come do it. which must make it unique. So I commend anybody that's in the band, anybody who plays an instrument, because it's a lot of hours that go into it. Students have to practice, all of the basic fundamentals. It's like football and basketball. And, we got some kids that are so good and they don't even think they're good and they can just continue to get better. So we give them opportunities to go play with stars. Like we had some students that play with Delfeyo Marcellus. That's Wynn Marcellus's brother. But, they play with these guys on stage and I'm amazed because I'm like, I didn't get that opportunity.
Right.
But, you got these guys that are really dynamic musicians and our students can get on the stage and play with them and learn from them. So that says a lot about, just the skill and art it takes to be in these bands. A lot of students don't believe they can make Southern band because they see the things that the band do. And that's what I was telling them, at the Ballad Band. I was getting off the podium and they was like, man, this band sounds so good. And I'm humble because it's like, I hear it every day. And I never get tired of hearing it. Like, I'm in the band room, I'm like, this is the best part of my day when I've been able to get in front of this band and listen to these different instruments. I can release everything I'm dealing with, everything I'm going through, and the sound of the band, it makes you just like it sends chills through your body. And sometimes I'll just be smiling because I can remember being in that band room, sitting in those chairs listening, and now I'm part of making and shaping and molding these young people to become lifelong learners. And I tell them, I say, guys, continue to be teachable, coachable, and trainable.
Yep.
Those three things have helped us and allowed us to continue to build on the legacy. And Doc said it best, the tallest building will tumble down if it's not rooted on solid ground. You got to have a foundation. The
Yes,
foundation
sir.
is the only way you can build on. And the blueprint is there. So our job is much easier in that department. We just building on the things that have already been planted and rooted. So the tree just continuing to grow, and a lot of people are bearing fruit from that tree. You got the band director from Prairie View. He was a Southern grad. The assistant from Prairie View, a Southern grad.
Come on. Yes, sir.
All these bands, we had somebody on everybody's staff. We had Paul Adams left Southern and went to Jackson State, but he's a Southern grad. O'Neal Sanford was over Norfolk's band. Alcorn Curry director from Southern University. Tyler Dager, former director, but now he's at Mississippi Valley, Southern University. The list goes on. Like, that tree has bared a lot of fruit. So it tells you to the level and the standard that we have at Southern University. So when I see other bands doing what Southern do, that, like Doc say, I know where they got it from. I created it years ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And guess what? After now, HBCU 2025 National Band Champions, you're going to have the chance. It's going to be a huge recruiting tool. Huge recruiting tool.
Sir. And when they see these students new championship rings, they're going to definitely love that.
And I look forward to seeing the digital Human Jukebox against the sonic boom of the South, a rivalry in itself. We could go another 2 hours talking about that, but we not. And somebody in the comments, I think they're alum of the March and 100. Maybe next year, EA. Anyway, Dr. Taylor, appreciate the time, and once again, congratulations to the Human Jukebox. Also, quickly, you talked about your assistants. Give them a shout out.
Yeah, Associate Director Bands, Mr. William Young. Assistant Director Bands, Mr. Cedric Todd. Mr. Kenneth Collins. Percussion Instructor, Mr. Lorenzo Hart. We have our Program Manager, Ms. Miracle Rosette, who's also our Academic Liaison. And we have the voice of the band, Darren Bedell. We have our Fabulous Dancing Doll sponsor, Ms. Datar Frank and Miss Tracy Green Prince. And we also have our support staff. Our media team is led by Gary Edgerson. And his guys, they do a great job of capturing the band and telling our story. And you also have Will Rosette, who works on campus as our safety manager, but he helps out a lot with the Human Jukebox. And you can't leave without thinking about Miss Sandra Bird, who's been at Southern University for 46 years. So she's been there since Dr. Greg's, and she's seen it all. So they do an amazing job in making sure that the band has everything we need, and making sure that these students' needs are being met. Because without the students, we wouldn't have a job. So we always want to give a major shout out to our students. Our enrollment is up. You know, and you'll be amazed how many students we auditioned. We auditioned 500 students the past year. Man, we brought in 165 freshmen. So,
Whoa.
yeah, you know, so that the students, they getting the word out there about what's going on at Southern University. You know, we was at the Super Bowl. We played for Jennifer Hudson. We broke barriers and played at LMEA Conference Festival, which no HBCU band has ever done that in our state. And guess who else was on the stage? LSU. And all of the LSU fans, grads was like, you guys were amazing. So for them to say that about Southern University on the concert stage, it lets you know that our students are excelling not only musically, but in the classroom, but even on the concert stage where a lot of people don't see. But that's where they build their skills at. The concert band build the skills, but the marching band pay the bills.
That's right. Well, congratulations. Look forward to talking with you again. And hey, keep on keeping on. Keep grinding, as they say.
Hey, look, we looking forward to it. A lot of people say we can't wait the football season. Well, we can wait. And we're excited as well for the new coach and the new staff and the new players. But hey, we got to take a break soon so we can be rejuvenated for the next season. But we got a battle of bands that is just a showcase, and the students get to go out and experience Boca Raton. So we'll be there for Martin Luther King weekend, and we're marching 6 parades this year. So we'll be in Zulu and Bacchus again. So for the people that's listening, catch the band and stay tuned. And we also doing the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. Okay.
That's January 31st. So the band's still rolling. We were in Atlanta and we did a lot of recruiting at different schools. And you ought to see the students' faces. If you can go see some of the videos, man, these students are definitely coming to Southern University. So all of Jaguar Nation, I got to put your money together so we can continue to build dorms, so we can get more and more students on campus, but not only recruit them, but retain them.
Yes, sir. On that note, we appreciate it, Coach Taylor, and we look forward to talking.
Carlos Frozen.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Thank you. That was Dr. Taylor, and I appreciate him coming on. The band, he talked about branding, marketing, recruiting. You saw the staff he has around him to help. It's just like sports. Just like sports. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll get back to talking about Coach Faulk, now the new coach.
Carlos froze again. Carlos froze again. He was trying to go to break, right?
Yeah. I guess we can take that break right here if we can, Melanie. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with more of the Carlos Brown Show here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern Eagles, Jaguars.
What's going on? Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown, Coach Pettaway, Wheeler Brown, and Charles Edmond. Charles, you getting back on your way back, or you just got back in town, correct?
Yeah, just got back from Baylor, and Coach Pettaway, I'm sure you saw what happened last night when we played Baylor. It's a whole other animal. Whole nother animal when you're playing these top tier teams. Baylor, one of the top 15 teams in the country, Iowa State, and it was tough sledding for us. We gave it all we had, but at the end of the day, I just think it's Jimmys and Joes. They got more Jimmys, taller Joes, and I think we played probably our best, but still, you can't go 5 minutes without scoring. You can't. I mean, those things in the SWAC, you can probably get away with a little bit, but when you're playing Baylor and Iowa State, Maryland, you can't do that. And so I think this is the time of year, guys. I think to me, Coach Morgan referenced it, Coach Kilbert referenced it, Coach Pettaway, you know about this. A week before Christmas, these players have been on campus since the summer. You got to feel like some of these players are ready to go home at this time of year, and you just got to get what you can out of them. Let them reset, let them go home and come back after Christmas. These are kind of the dog days right here, unfortunately, because you want to see some good basketball, but this time of year it's always tough.
Yeah, it's tougher. It's tough on the kids. It's tough on the coaches, man, because it's a long grind, and then this is about the only time that you're gonna get a break, until the spring. So a lot of the kids look forward to it. But Carlos, there've been a couple of teams in the SWAC though that are playing well. The Southern Jags are doing okay, and man, we better keep our eye on Grambling, man. You know, Grambling just put together 2 back-to-back games. They beat Hampton University. They beat Norfolk State. So they're playing well. And then of course we got the SWAC season coming right up on us, man. It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to have some success because it's tough. We know the non-conference games, but there has been some success.
Yep.
I had a guy he was so disappointed in Southern's men's basketball team because they lost to Cal State Baptist, and then they had another close loss, free throws. But at least you can look in the W column, and you have some wins. I kind of briefly looked. I know Alabama A&M has some wins. There are some teams that only have one.
Alabama A&M has 6. Grambling got 5. Prairie View got 4. Southern has 4. Bethune-Cookman in the SWAC this year, every team has at least one win. So on the men's side. So the thing was, you're playing these guaranteed games. You're out there on the road for the most part. And you just want to keep your team mentally ready for the conference schedule. You got to hope that you don't take too many beatings during the non-conference season, so that when your team does come across a team similar to yours, they won't forget how to win a game. And that's the important part. You got it's the mental grind right now that's the biggest thing, biggest toll.
Yeah, and Southern women, some hot shots say, well, look, you beat Arizona and Houston, but they're at the bottom of the Big 12. I don't care about that. And then, look, I saw them the other night. Baylor, they played Baylor women. They lost 77-60, but it was a very competitive game.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, Southern men. They're going to take on SMU. So when you look at those games, you have prepared you, and as Charles stated, although I kind of slightly disagree, it's more pressure when you get into conference play. They're going to be judged on the conference play, but boy, sure does feel good sometimes to win those non-conference games. Like Southern has one against Northwestern State. That's a peer school. I'm talking about on the men's side, and so you feel good about that. But the conference, you're right, Coach Pettaway, is coming up shortly.
But it makes you wonder though, when you just step back and unpack it all. And this is an obvious question to me: could that be why a lot of teams in the league struggle even in conference? Because they've struggled to win games, tasting what a victory is, not having the continuity because you're on the road, and not getting all your rotations down because you're in these lopsided games. Could that be a part of the reason, not the whole reason, but a part of the reason why teams struggle in conference games the first 2-3 weeks of the season, of conference season?
Charles, you're absolutely correct, man. And I try to tell these young coaches, I say, hey, man, you better give those kids, let those kids find out what a victory is like. You cannot wait until a conference saying, well, we'll be able to turn it on. No, you're not going to be able to just turn it on like that, man. Those kids got to have some confidence going into the conference schedule. So that's why I have no problem with any team scheduling down. Those kids need to find a win. You're playing all these guaranteed games. You're going up against you got David going up against Goliath, right? Then when they do find another David, they can't play against David because they don't know how to win because you haven't put them in that situation before. So regional scheduling to me has always got to be a part of it. I think it helps you when it comes to your conference schedule. And you got these coaches that say, well, I'm playing all these games to prepare for the conference. No, you're not, because you're not going to see a team in the conference that plays like that. They got that much depth. They got that much size. You're not going to see that in the conference. Yeah.
So we go to that old saying again, balance.
Yes, balance. That's the key.
But I'm not going to dwell deep into. We've had so many of those conversations, but I know who to point the finger at. Just anybody who makes those schedules.
You blame it on the athletic director, Carlos.
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged.
Now, money maker.
They call revenue sports, Carlos.
Yeah. Rob Peter to pay Paul. I'm still trying to get 1%. 1%. I think Texas Southern probably does a great job of putting some of that money back into the program.
Yeah, they do.
I guarantee you, we got probably about $75,000 to $80,000 for playing Baylor last night, and they got a brand spanking new arena, brand new. They got an arena that's just for basketball. That new arena is just for basketball only. They still got the old arena they played in, which is still nice, but gymnastics and the other sports are using that arena, and Baylor has an arena specifically for basketball, men and women in that.
Wait a minute. That's surprising in itself, but you said 75 or 80,000?
Yeah.
That's all? Oh my.
Yeah, that's all.
Who's negotiating that contract? My goodness. I want more.
No,
you ain't getting more, Carlos.
No,
forget about it.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I wonder next year if Southern play. You talking about men or women?
Men.
Women?
Men.
That's a good payday, Carlos.
Yeah.
75, 80, that ain't bad.
Yeah.
You
If
ain't
I'm
spending a whole lot.
If I'm
The
selling
key is
myself,
you
I want more.
You combine that with some other things close by, you know, so you make that $160,000, $170,000 payday total. Okay, if you're just not running there and running back.
I want it all. I want it all. I want more.
You could probably count the number of programs that's paying six figures on one hand.
Yeah, you can definitely.
And, I mean, and we're talking about $100,000 payday. Maybe Texas, maybe John Jones at Texas Southern can squeeze 100 out of Michigan State if he's playing that. But I don't think I saw him the other night. He was who did he play the other night? I saw the game and it was North Carolina State? It was North Carolina State. That's probably 80,000, maybe 90, maybe. You got Will Wade, first year coach, maybe. I don't think it's 90, but somewhere 75-ish or so. Johnny Jones wouldn't crank up the bus for anything less than that anyway. So, but
the further you travel, the more you can get.
Yeah.
But if you're going close by, you're not gonna get the big bucks.
But I'm wondering, in this new landscape, you're paying these basketball players. You got this $10 million roster. I wonder, is that impacting the amount of money that's being paid for some of these guarantee games going forward?
They got the money. They got it. Get more out there, ADs, if you're listening. Get the regional games, as Coach Pettaway said, as well. And then one of those huge ones, but show me the money and give some of that money back into that program.
Yeah.
We getting over $1 million in our payday, Carlos. Our AD confirmed that. Over $1 million in guarantees.
And I saw the record.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand.
Carlos.
one victory, but hey, when the conference start, it may come out and surprise some people. You know, and another thing, Coach Pettaway, your conference members know you compared to playing those money games. You know, and something y'all said before. Now, Southern women, when they go next year and play, beat Arizona, beat Houston. They won't be going there.
Sure won't.
But that word spreads to other teams.
Yes, it does.
They might want to pay less because they know a dangerous team coming in. Nope. We don't want less.
Yeah.
We want more because of what had happened.
Yeah.
But
look to increase the travel budget, because the only place that you're going to get guarantees now are going to be further out.
Well, I'm making a call across town because she's been talking about playing all the state schools.
Yeah.
That's one stop. You know, Mississippi State. You got Arkansas. You know,
well,
it's not like going way up into Michigan and Ohio.
I can confirm right now that Alcorn's Lady Braves gonna play LSU next year. That contract is coming. That's gonna happen next year, and it's 2 hours up the road. Lady Braves turned that trip around this go around. They didn't stay in a hotel and all that. They came down the day of, played the game, and came on back. And Carlos, look, I got to share this, Wheeler. LSU brought the check. I was sitting there.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
They brought the check to Nate Kill, but they had to sign for it. It was in a folder. I was like, wow. They took a look at the check, everything lined up. He signed it, and of course,
that's what I'm talking about.
Coach Pettaway,
service with a smile.
Yeah.
If you smart, that money should not have been brought to that table side. That money should have already been in the bank. That's what Coach Castle used to say. Look, blood, we got to have something down.
Well,
we got to have a line of credit. Now I know that was football, but basketball.
I've been told, Carlos, that this is just what I've learned, and I've been told. The standard contracts for those basketball guarantees, you usually have 30 to 45 days to to get
After
your
the
money.
game, yeah.
Yeah, but that they're not gonna give you a check on site. The 30 to 40.
Very rare. Very rare.
On
no
site?
doubt about it. Very
site.
rare.
That's
No,
what you
no.
said.
Yeah,
I've had
on
a couple-
site. Very rare. Very
Right,
rare.
right. During my
Wait a minute.
career, I've had a couple guaranteed games where I picked the money up while I was there.
Yeah.
I had somebody bring,
Wow.
But that's not how it works now.
Yep, to our practice.
Very rare. Very rare.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
scared me there, Charles. Look, You wait a minute. Am I hearing right? They literally brought the check and then he
Yes.
signed it.
Yes.
You know how many people around you are looking? Oh no. Security's good.
Well, yeah.
Hey,
What gonna do with that check, Carlos? I mean, it's signed at the university. I mean, yeah.
It's the principle of it, Charles.
I get it. I get it, but that's
not at courtside. Not at
all
courtside.
the time. You know, back in the old days, the Whitney days and the old days, the Pettaway days, they would bring that check to you. But they're not doing that now. But with LSU brought that check to the table, and I didn't see the actual check, but I was told I saw that transaction take place, and I'm like, wow. So we can go back to the yesteryear.
Oh, that transaction should have been 48 hours in that bank. That's dangerous courtside.
Well, hey.
Well,
I think it's just a contractual thing, and maybe it's just something that we wanted to do. And look, it's not guaranteed that every school is going to do it. I mean, we played Mississippi State, we played Ole Miss after Christmas. They're probably not doing it that way. But LSU, all you can do is inquire. Hey, can we get the check the day of the game? If they say, yeah, coach, we can make it happen, they make it happen. If they say no, within 30 days you'll get it, and they're not going to play the game. I mean, but I think that's just kind of what we may be looking for in this current landscape. I don't know, but I hadn't seen that in a long time, though.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen. if Southern's playing, no, something just don't sit right with me with that one. You think that little of us look at what that check and everything should have been done beforehand.
But it doesn't. I don't think it works that way though, because something could happen to where, in order to get your money, things have to happen. And if things don't happen, you might not get that guarantee. What if the game is canceled? Then what? So I think that's why they pay you 30 to 45 days afterwards, just like you pay bills at the university. They pay bills within 30 days. So because things don't go right and they don't line up to where you're still giving this amount of money, but it ain't lining up. So you want to make sure it lines up first, and then they'll cut a check. I mean, I think
a lot of times it's on the contract. It's on the contract, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, net 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of stunned.
If you go in there with your hand out, Carlos, you look like you're begging.
See, I would handle my business totally different. You better not hand me a check at courtside. No. We don't do that way.
They
Coach
give you an
Pettaway?
envelope, Carlos. You don't know what's in the envelope.
Yeah.
Could be a love letter.
Well,
for your service.
Envelopes have gotten people in trouble, especially with no name on this stuff. But anyway, let us move back on to kind of recap.
Celebration Bowl.
So I say your people are paying. Yeah, we haven't gotten into that, and we got about 18 minutes left. Prairie View had everything in front of them.
Yep.
21-0 at halftime. They're rocking. They're rolling. Then I look at one particular play, and we're sitting in press row, and thanks to Celebration Bowl, AD Drew was over everything for us, the media. We appreciate you. They run a trick play. You remember that? They run a trick play. And then you're in the stadium, and then you got a monitor in front of you. Then you're looking up at the scoreboard that shows the plays. And my thinking was, why are they running that? They had literally, South Carolina State could not stop Prairie View throwing the ball. could not. You got to lead, maybe not be so conservative, but be conservative. And they run a trick play. And the guy for Prairie View has the ball. The South Carolina State guy is on top of his back, literally. And he tries to hand it off. It's like end around, a reverse. And they fumble. South Carolina State gets it, they score. Momentum jumped on the back. Then it's tied up, going back and forth. And look, this Prairie View team, the week before against Jackson State, they rushed the ball a lot. So this game, they're throwing the ball, and they have so much success. Then you get back and forth. Then you get into overtime, a bunch of overtimes, and then the controversial play.
Yeah.
People can explain it better than I can, but I'll just put it in simple terms. The first thought was he didn't cross the plane. Then I looked at the replay from different angles, from the scoreboard up top, the monitor in front of me. Then I said, boy, it looks like he did break it. It's like he got his fingernail across the line. But, people going back and forth in the media. But then I stopped and I said, you know what? It shouldn't have even come down to this.
Right.
Now, our colleague Brian Fulford in our text message said, and he may be watching now, still watching, it was a bad call. But I look at all the opportunities Prairie View had. I will simply say it should not have come down to that. A field goal kicker that's in pregame, he's nailed them for 50 yards. He didn't make it. He missed 2. And then you remember the play where Prairie View guy, and at first I thought maybe did he jump on a player's back to get so wide open to come in and block the field goal attempt? Missed it. And I was looking at him on the sideline. He was dejected. Sometimes the game is a matter of inches. So I'll wrap this up saying there were plenty of opportunities for Prairie View, but it was an outstanding game. And when you talk about from a historical standpoint, people will be talking about that football game for 100 years from now. First one to go into overtime. Now, the viewership was pretty good. The attendance was 26,000. And I made a purpose of not saying anything in that press area about the attendance. Who travels well, who doesn't. I heard some little sly remarks about, a certain team doesn't show up. They don't show up at their home games. And then I also heard some sly remarks about where were the Jackson State people who still, look, I'm coming to the game regardless of who's playing. And that's the difference. That's where you're going. It's an event. No matter who, if it's Mississippi Valley and Texas Southern, I'm going to show up for that game. It's the event. Now, I'll get off my soapbox on that.
Well, I'll chime in first. First of all, I want to put more respect on Tremaine Jackson's name and Prairie View's name. Remember, he called it out. He said Atlanta or bust. When he was hired, he had the Atlanta shirt and he took his team there. So let's give him his props because he did what he said he was going to do. Get to Atlanta. Did he not win the game? No, he didn't. He had every opportunity. You talk about that play. Willie Simmons chimed on social media and he said that was the correct call. So,
it was.
And so there are people that are going back and forth. Willie, I trust Willie Simmons. He knows, and he was there. So I think what Willie Simmons said was, he said it was the correct call. But yeah, Prairie View was loading, and I was working on a little grant project while I was watching the game, and I was texting you guys 21-0. Prairie View looked about as good as you can possibly look. And then all of a sudden, that one play, Carlos, as you talked about, changed the momentum of the game. But the Panthers had other opportunities even after all of that. But I think you got to give South Carolina a lot of credit for not giving up. Their quarterback got knocked out of the game. And you would think with the backup, it would be different. But
he was better.
And let's put some respect on Chennis Berry's name because his second year coming from Benedict, he wins 2 MEAC titles, then he wins the Celebration Bowl. And so you have to give South Carolina State a whole lot of credit. I mean, it was a great football game. As you mentioned, we'll be talking about this for a long, long time. But, it was a great game. But Prairie View had every opportunity to shut the door. They didn't. And once you leave the door open, South Carolina State walked through it. So I credit both teams. The attendance was down. But as John Grant has pointed out, the ratings were up. And that is what keeps the game where it is. And I think John Grant needs to continue to say this. Yes, the attendance was not what it was, the second lowest or whatever it was, but there was great viewership. And that's what pleases the folks at Disney, to keep the game where it is right now.
Yep. Great game, great contest. Great season for Prairie View. They have nothing to hang their heads over. They had an outstanding season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me talk a little bit more about it. Michael in the chat room has some important comment about the Celebration Bowl. And, every year you try to do something that's better. How can you improve? But we'll come back to that.
Yeah, obviously trying to, find different ways to improve the game, guys. And you talked about having maybe the winner of the SIAC or having more than just one game played. I've read those comments out there to try to have more of an HBCU experience instead of the SWAC versus the MEAC. What do you think about that?
I don't know that that's feasible in my mind.
Right, because
I think you got a good model as it is. It's just a matter of finding a way to get more butts in the seat. But the bottom line is that certain schools don't draw well.
Right.
And there's not a whole lot you can do about that.
Yeah.
Certain schools don't draw well. It just kind of is what it is. And, in the weeks or so leading up to it, you might want to try to do some different things marketing wise in order to get butts in the stands, whether it's discounting tickets or, giving a bunch to high schools or what have you, a lot more giveaways than you normally would rather see,
Right.
But as long as you're pumping it up TV wise, like you said, your sponsors, that's what's driving them.
Right.
When they see that the TV viewership has increased, that sort of thing, that keeps them on board. And I think that's the main thing. But certain schools, Charles, guys, they are who they are, and they bring what they bring.
Yeah.
So Will, so the new idea would be to try to play a double header. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, that has been thrown about. In terms of like a Division II type of celebration.
Right.
Also.
Right. Well,
I don't know that that's feasible. Sometimes you can oversaturate your product, and I think that's just kind of takes away from the main idea,
right?
So to speak.
Yeah, it needs to stay. It needs the Celebration Bowl needs to stand on its own 2 feet, and they find other ways to try to get people in, try to engage the alumni from those particular schools that are participating to see if you can get some more people out, that kind of thing. But no, I think just playing one game per day, I think is the ticket. I don't think they need to try that doubleheader thing.
And look to make it more of a HBCU celebration as opposed to a celebration of the 2 teams that make it.
Gotcha.
Well, try to market that thing to where it's a conference type thing, not a Prairie View, South Carolina State thing, but more so an emphasis on MEAC SWAC thing, in terms of trying to draw more of the other fan bases there for the game.
We don't have events surrounding the game. You have the Hall of Fame, and so you have the conferences are doing some stuff, to bring in SWAC meetings or something like that to Atlanta. I mean, so they're tying some stuff together to try to attract more attention.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know what fan bases travel and ones that don't. I'm not even gonna get it. I mean, it just, as you say, it is what it is and ain't what it ain't. So
Uh-huh.
I'm not concerned about that at all. You would love to see 40 to 50,000 in the dome every Celebration Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened, but it hasn't. But I want to keep the game right where it is, and John Grant is battling like heck to do that. And in order for it to stay where it is, the ratings number that comes out a week or so after the game has to stay high enough to keep the folks at Disney pleased. Because if not, and you're looking at something totally different that people definitely gonna get pissed off about. Why is the game on this certain day at 6 o'clock or whatever? I think the time you have it, you kick things off with the bowl season with that. You know, you got to fight like, I mean, that is fertile ground right there. And in order to keep it where it is, we got to continue to eyeball it. Those that can go, great. If not, watch the game. John Grant has said year out.
Well, once again, I dream of a time when the Columbia blue and gold is there.
Yeah.
And it may not matter who the opponent is. You will see something extraordinary. And I'll leave it at that. Hey, but it's an event. It's an event, and no matter who it is, I think they're in good standings. They have a lot to grow on. And I think this game is here. I would look forward to the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Then the MEAC SWAC Challenge. So it's something unique. It's ours. Let's continue to help make it grow. Now let's see if I can get these graphics in. Okay. We'll switch back to Coach Marshall Faulk and the staff. We won't, because of news that came out earlier this morning, we won't put up the offensive coordinator, Mel.
There it is, Curtis Johnson, assistant head coach.
Where you know him from, Charles? You know Coach Johnson?
I do not. I do not. What about the next one, Melanie? I know we kind of lost Carlos. Kyle Caskey.
Okay, yep.
Well, Caskey, according to now information, has not accepted the position as offensive coordinator. So it was a name put in the chat box. Todd Light, defensive coordinator, has playing experience, won a Super Bowl, has a coaching experience at Vanderbilt, also at Notre Dame, and also
I gotta get a picture with him because he played for the Rams. He helped win a Super Bowl. So, okay. All right, I got you. I remember Todd Light. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I might can work that out for you. Because they, well, no, wait a minute. They're coming back to Baton Rouge next year?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. We'll
yeah. But yeah, a very diverse staff, though. I mean, so this is a lot of NFL experience, Carlos. I mean, Marshall Faulk is, he's getting guys he's familiar with, who he's played with, who knows, and those relationships matter in any profession. So he's definitely doing that.
And they have college experience and high school, so don't forget about that. And it is building about relationships. Coach Faulk talked about getting to know everyone, but he also emphasized life after football, which is important. Life out whatever sport you play, it is important because it's a mean world out there.
Yeah.
Kids, and by the way, congratulations to all the graduates, conference-wide, nationwide. Now you got AI. I don't know, maybe AI has gotten into my computer this morning for some reason. Those you have that out there. But by the way, I will say this: the budget director has blessed me. I'm going to upgrade with the computer. Because for some reason, I don't know why. It knocks me out, knocks me in. But we'll perform a check.
A forensic study.
Yeah, but we're upgrading. We're upgrading.
Yeah.
So see, everybody has a budget director, and guess what? I didn't have to play a lot of guarantee games to get it.
Whatever it takes, Carlos. Whatever it takes.
So South Carolina State, HBCU National Champions. Coach Faulk, official deal is on the board. We talked a little bit of SWAC basketball, but now that's going to be his front and center now, Coach Pettaway, coming into conference play. It's going to be Go ahead, Coach Pettaway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I you broke up on me, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the SWAC season, man. I think we got some great teams on the men and women's side, and Bethune-Cookman was picked on the men's, Southern on the women's side, and I just think that we're gonna see some exciting basketball, and I look forward to it.
It's gonna be a battle.
Well, Carlos, I want to kind of get back one brief comment about the Celebration Bowl. Did you see Chennis Berry's comments after the game? He talked about all year long how everybody in the MEAC covering the MEAC talked to two coaches, 90%.
That sounds like a personal complaint, Charles. He should talk to the MEAC about that.
Well, I know. I'm just saying what he said.
It was the truth. It was the truth.
That's all.
It was the truth.
It is, but I said it 6 months ago. This year in the MEAC was going to be about two coaches, and Chennis Berry confirmed that. So now, fast forward quickly. 7 months from SWAC Football Media Day. You think it's going to be about Marshall Faulk? You think he's going to have all those cameras in front of him in 7 months?
What do you think?
I can see where.
What do you think, Charles? You asked that question, you know it.
I think absolutely yes. Number one, you got another, and Marshall Faulk used the Deion Sanders blueprint according to reports in terms of him getting the job. I think that Southern winning 2 games last year, the program is where it is, and so the Marshall Faulk thing. Southern being down, yes, I think there'll be a lot of cameras on Marshall Faulk in 7 months.
I think there'll also be a lot on TC Taylor.
Yeah,
he didn't get to the heritage, the Celebration Bowl. So once again, those you see this year, you won't see some of them next year. That's the nature of the business. Yeah, get ready. It's going to be a circus, a madhouse, not just in Birmingham. But even in Baton Rouge, you see everybody lining up to get interviews and talking. But I want to talk to the assistant coaches.
Yeah. I know both programs. They're going to be accessible, Carlos. So I agree with you on that.
And on that note,
all right, Carlos,
in today's show. Yep. Until next Saturday at 11 a.m. for the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Holidays. And peace and God bless.